Hey everyone, it's Gerald here. In this video, we're going to go over United Healthcare. So ticker symbol UNH. In this video, we're going to dive both into the fundamentals as well as the technicals of this company. So United Healthcare is not without its controversy, and we'll be diving into that. But first, let's go over the strengths of this company and its business model. So with United Healthcare, it has a very diversified business model, right? There's both the insurance side of the business, which is United Healthcare, as well as the healthcare services, which is Optum, right? So this sort of sector, this diversified business model allowed this stock to have a lot of resilience through a lot of the headwinds that is going along through any sort of sector related issues or macroeconomic conditions, right? So it's been a safe haven for a lot of investors. Optum RX delivered nearly 14% revenue growth in Q1 2025, while Optum Health targeted nearly 650,000 new value-based care patients, right? So this is a company with a demonstration of consistently diversified revenue streams and consistently strong profitability metrics. So next, we're going to go over Medicare Advantage, right? This is a company that remains the largest Medicare Advantage insurer in the United States, right? It added 800,000 members in 2025, despite recent utilization pressures, right? So with this demographic driven growth, it aligns with the aging population, right? So creating a lot of long-term tailwind despite near-term margin challenges. This company has vertical integration between its insurance side as well as its care delivery side slash PBM, which enables cost optimization and care coordination. Like I said, the stock boasts a strong financial position, right? It has a very solid balance sheet. So any case of any huge macroeconomic downturn, this is a company that can withstand a lot of that pressure, right? Everybody needs healthcare in this day and age, right? And that's shown through its quantitative metrics, right? You look at this company with consistent profitability year over year, right? And despite all this sell-off, this company still has been growing their dividend and is maintaining that dividend. I think right now the stock currently has a 2.78% dividend. So simply just holding the stock offers you a decently sized return, especially those who are long-term investors. Now we'll dive into the weaknesses, which, like I said, if you haven't been living under a rock, you've been kind of know what's been going on. They've been hit with short articles time and time after again, with this most recent one being a class action lawsuit or a criminal investigation with United Healthcare sort of exposing or taking advantage of the federal government's sort of payments. On top of that, you have Donald Trump attacking the healthcare sector, pretty much saying that he plans to reduce the cost of pharmacy drugs by nearly 80 to 90%. So with that looming, with all these hit articles as well, with all the controversy, the stock has taken a major hit. The stock's down over 40 to 50% year to date, and I'm going to go over whether I think it's a good buy or not. Right? So what the company is actually worth based off of the numbers alone rather than the sentiment, the stock is trading nearly 48% undervalued, right? The stock has an intrinsic value of $450.28 when it's currently sitting at around $304, right? So it's offering a huge margin of safety from an intrinsic value standpoint. On top of that, you have major investors, super investors, investing into this company with its recent downturn, right? So you have Route One, Bill Duhamel, holding nearly 228 million, accounting for nearly 10% of his portfolio, and he's down 20%. You have Night Owl Capital, holding $44 million, nearly 5.5% of his portfolio, down 38%, and he increased his position by nearly 40%. So I'm seeing a lot of conviction. Stock is a very strong company that can weather a lot of economic downturn, and it's offering, from a margin of safety standpoint, very, very intriguing valuations here. Going down to the Wall Street estimates, the stock has an average price target of around 426 by the end of the year. So 40% upside potentially, right? You have a consensus buy and hold with only one sell, right? So 7 buys, 1 hold, 1 sell, right? So 40% upside with the highest price target nearly 100% away from current valuations. And as you can see here, the lowest price target is roughly around $270, which is very limited downside of about 10 to 11% here. Biggest clue here is looking at what the insiders are doing. Within the last 3 months, I would say even within the last couple of weeks, we have the CEO, the president and CFO making major buys off of the recent short attacks by other articles here. You had the company themselves stating that the articles are false and that they are not essentially going under or heard anything about any criminal investigation from the government. So saying thing is one thing, getting action behind those words. You're seeing the president and CFO, John Rex, paying nearly $5 million of the stock recently. This looks like it was purchased on 16th, so roughly around 2 weeks ago from today, right? At a price point around 291. So not too far off from where we're currently sitting at. The stock is currently sitting at around $305 after today, June 2nd here. You see here a 25 million buy by Stephen Hemsley, the CEO slash UGC here. He has a buy price of around 289. So all within the same buy price of where it's currently sitting at today, with major increases in their allocations. Going over the basic metrics of this company is growing at about, last quarter grow year over year about 10%, when the stock is trading at a PE ratio of 12.49, so a 5-year low. This is essentially the lowest the stock has traded from a valuation standpoint. Is consistently free cash flow positive, right? So this is a consistently profitable company year after year, quarter after quarter, with a free cash flow yield of about 9%. So what does that allow this company to do? It allows the company to buy back its shares, which we're going to go over in a couple of moments. It is exactly doing. You see the company offering a dividend on the side as well, right? So about a 2.75% dividend yield. It seems like a pretty straightforward buy as it stands today. As I'm going through the return or profitability metrics, I see the return on assets around 7.41%, which is excellent. All the profitability metrics are above sort of industry averages here. So you have a 7.41 return on assets. The return on equity, they're doing a great job, around 23.8%, with a 16.53% return on capital employed. In the company's balance sheet, the assets exceeds the liabilities. The assets are sitting around 310 billion, with liabilities of around 205 billion, with a debt to equity ratio of roughly around 0.86, right? So I'm looking for debt to equity ratios less than 1, and I'm getting exactly that, right? The shares outstanding, like I said, this company, it has an ongoing share buyback program, and it seems like they are actively buying back their shares, especially now the stock's sitting at its huge valuations. It's very likely the company is going to buy back a lot of their shares and reward its shareholders from there. Hop into the chart here. I have United Healthcare here on the daily time frame. The stock right now is currently sitting at around a 31.72 on the RSI. Recently bounced off of a major demand zone, roughly around 270, dropped all the way around to the 247. Huge area of demand with huge buying volume. And essentially you're getting lowered selling volume with an RSI divergence here. So what is an RSI divergence? Like I said, when stocks fall down, essentially the RSI should be falling down as well, right? So you see the stock fall down and the RSI is falling down. Well, there comes to a point where the sellers are starting to weaken and the buyers start to take over. And that's what I'm starting to see here on this chart here. So as I chart this RSI right over here, it's sitting around a 14.53, and then present day puts us roughly around the same buy price, right? It's actually traded, the price action has traded further down, but the RSI is actually going further up. So if I draw a RSI line right here, right here. So if I draw an RSI from this point right here, which is where that candle was sitting at, May 14th of this year to present day, you can see the RSI lines are diverging from one another, right? Price action is going down, but the RSI indicator is actually going up. So that indicates to me that sellers are weakening, buyers are taking over, and that is all sort of reaffirmed with the volume that I'm looking at here, right? Like I said, price action and volume are your leading indicators, and a lot of it, I'm seeing it right here. The RSI divergence is a lagging indicator, and that allows me to ultimately just have a lot of confluence in understanding that there is a solid buy as it currently sits right here, roughly around the 304 area here. So I have an RSI divergence. The stock recently bounced off of a major area of demand, and I'm just going to quickly draw a fib from this low to this high. We recently got a retracement all the way to the 0.5, and it looks like the stock is moving its way back up to prior high, roughly around the 326 area to the 340 area. It looks like right here, there is a gap to fill roughly around all the way up into the 380s, which is a major profit target that I have for this stock. It would currently align with the supply zone roughly around this area, and the 50 simple moving average would roughly be around this area, right? So a mean reversion target or mean reversion price action is likely to ensue in the coming days. On top of that, I see the stock trading on the weekly time frame, trading all the way back here. Like I said, the stock is trading at a RSI of nearly 29.38. So the fact that this stock is oversold that much on the weekly time frame tells me the stock is very wildly oversold. So the last time the stock, I'm just going to clean up this chart for you guys over here. The last time that the stock got this oversold, right? Just going to draw a line from this RSI right over here. The last time the RSI got this oversold would put us all the way back in 2008, right? If you guys don't remember what happened in 2008, or you guys aren't aware of the market since then, the market it was the time of the global financial crisis. So this drop is essentially the equivalent of the global financial crisis during that time in terms of the fear and how steep that drop was, right? And now I'm seeing a lot of reversal candidates. Now I'm seeing a lot of reversal indicators. I'm seeing insiders make massive purchase, right? Over 25 million by the CEO, right? You have management, insiders themselves saying that these hit pieces was irresponsible from a lot of these news sources, right? And on top of that, like I said, they are backing up their words. They are buying massive amounts of shares of this company, right? And just looking at the metrics themselves, the stock is having a buyback program. Profitability metrics are great. The stock is still growing at around a 10% year-over-year clip. The Wall Street has upside around 30 to 40%, as well as the intrinsic value, right? So looking at the stock from both a fundamental and a technical basis shows me the stock is sitting at a pretty clear buy. So what am I exactly doing during this time? I'm essentially loading up, but essentially I am ready to dollar cost average if the time comes, right? So right here would essentially be my first sort of buy, targeting sort of mean reversion towards this 343 high to this 380 as my last sort of take profit. And that's exactly how I'm maneuvering around the market. You guys have any other questions, go ahead and shoot that down in the comments below. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think here.